doing warm-ups, I did it at the beginning of this 9 weeks, you're going to need to learn that list of perfect squares. The reason you need to learn it is because we are going to use them to do what is called simplest radical form. Simplest radical form is going to be dealing with these expressions that need to be simplified, broken down until no perfect squares can come out of them anymore. So that list of perfect squares is an extremely important list for you to know. Let's review these perfect squares and talk about these as we go through this. Guys, this is something that a lot of people don't get. Guys, these numbers right here are the perfect squares. These numbers, not what they're equal to, these numbers are the perfect squares. Okay, and there are more of them. Okay, they keep going. Some others that are really important are going to be like square root of 169, square root of 225, square root of 400, square root of 625. These are just ones I know that show up a lot that you're going to need to be able to use, recognize, deal with, because these are the numbers that matter, not what they're equal to. You'll need what they equal to, but these are the numbers that you're looking for when we talk about the process that we're going to go through. Guys, this is just a list of the numbers that are squared, that have perfect squares, that when you take the square root of them, give you a whole number. The square root of 4 is 2. Square root of 9 is 3. Square root of 16 is 4, etc., etc. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Guys, what's the square root of 169? 13. What about 225? 15. 400? 20. Anybody know 625? 25. These are all important perfect squares. You're going to need these in order to break something down into what we call simplified radicals. In order to do that, here is the process. You're going to break this number into one what we call nice number. Guys, that's a perfect square. So we need one perfect square, and then we need one that is not a perfect square. Okay? So when we set this up, we're going to take it, and remember how you did factor trees back in the day and you were breaking it down into factor trees? That's this concept that we're looking at this for this. You're going to break it into a number from that list, and then what you would have to multiply to get it to that number once you use that. Guys, what out of this list, not the numbers over on the right, the numbers on the left, what out of that list will go into 20? 4, perfect. 4 is in that list. 4 goes into 20. Guys, how many times does 4 go into 20? That's the other number. 4 is the nice number because it's a perfect square. 5 is what's left over. It's called the not nice number. It's not a perfect square. What is the square root of 4? 2. So the answer would be 2 square roots of 5. That is considered to be simplified. The reason it is simplified is because 5 does not divide by any of these numbers that are perfect squares anymore. So we have simplified it as much as we possibly can. Does anybody have any questions so far? Right. Anybody still writing? I just want to make sure I don't get ahead of anybody. Okay, here we go. So we've got a bunch of these to break down. Some of them are a little bit easier than others, and we'll talk about some things that we need to as we go. First things first, when you're looking at 12, what goes into 12 out of that list? 4. So is 2 on that list, guys? Look. Is 2 on that list? No. Guys, listen to me. Is 2 one of the highlighted numbers? No, it's the square root of one of them, but it is not a highlighted number. Guys, what it's equal to does not matter in this list. It's the numbers that are under the radicals that are the perfect squares. So is 2 under one of the radicals? Yes or no, guys? No, it is not under there. Because it is not, you can't use that. What out of that list will go into 12? 4. How many times does 4 go into 12? 3. There you go. So what is the square root of 4, guys? 2. So it's going to be 2 square roots of 3. How do you know you're done? Because 3 can't divide by any of the numbers on that list. 3 does not divide by 4, 9, etc. because they're bigger than it, guys. You can stop when they're bigger. Okay, on the next one. What goes into 90 that's on that list? 9. And how many times does 9 go into 90? 10. What is the square root of 9? 3. 3 square roots of 10. Now guys, 10 can break into 1 and 10, 2 and 5. Are any of those numbers on that list? Guys, I need you to answer and know whether you know the answer or not, because some of y'all act like that's on the list and it's not. Guys, the numbers on the list are the highlighted numbers. Are 1, 2, 5, or 10 in the highlighted numbers? No, they are not. So you know you're done when you can't break it down anymore into one of those highlighted numbers. You got to know those numbers, guys. That's why I told you had to memorize that list of perfect squares. That's why I did those warm-ups. That's why we did other stuff to build you up to this. Okay, now you may need a calculator for this one because you may not see it immediately. What goes into 52 from that list? 4. It is 4? How many times? How many times does 4 go into it? 13? Okay. How many times does 4 go in there? It goes in there 13 times. So our nice number is 4. Our not nice number is 13. What's the square root of 4? 2. So it's 2 square roots of 13. 13 doesn't, guys, 13's prime. It doesn't divide by anything. It's 1 and 13, and 13's definitely not on that list. So we're done. Okay, 72. What from that list will go into 72? 4. Someone said 9. There's another one. Keep going. 8's not on the list.
Oh.
36. Guys, all 3 of these ways are correct, but watch what happens for each one. I'm going to do each one of them because it matters. You got to know how to deal with this. You can start off by doing 4. How many times does 4 go in there? 18. Okay, what's the square root of 4? 2. So it'd be 2 square roots of 18. Is that the answer? Why can't you stop there? What can 18 divide by that's still in that list? 9. So you would still break 18 down. You would keep the 2 out in front, and 18 would break into the nice number 9. And how many times does 9 go into 18? 2. Okay, watch. Look at what I'm about to write. Guys, what is the square root of 9? Cross it out, put a 3 above it. Now this 2 and 3 are on the outside. What do you do with numbers that are next to each other that you need to deal with on the outside? Multiply them. 2 times 3 would be 6 square roots of 2. 6 square roots of 2. We're about to do it 2 more times, guys. We got 3 different ways to do this one. I'm showing you that it doesn't matter how you start. You get the same answer every time. Okay, 9 times what gives you 72? Whoa, guys, come on. You got to know your times tables better than that. 9 times what gives you 72? 8. What is the square root of 9? 3. That's going to make it 3 square roots of 8. Okay, why am I not done when I get to 3 square roots of 8? What will divide into 8 that's in that list? 4. And 4 times what gives you 8? 2. Okay, guys, what's the square root of 4? 2. And 3 times 2 would again be 6 square roots of 2. Do you see I get the same answer both times? Now look, me personally, I look for the biggest one because then it's a lot less work. Guys, how many times does 36 go into 72? 2. What's the square root of 36? And my answer is just 6 square roots of 2. See how much less work that is? The bigger number you divide into it, the easier your problem will be. Questions, concerns, anything about it? Okay, let's keep going, guys. Oh, anybody still writing? I apologize. Anybody still writing? Okay, let's keep going. So the next one, we have to multiply. Guys, it's just regular multiplication. They're just under the radical. Take your calculator. What's 2 times 24? What was it? 48. That is correct. Then you take the 48 and you break it down just like you did. You're just multiplying the numbers under the radical. You keep it under the radical. So 2 times 24 is 48, and then break it down. There is a number that goes into this from the list. It's not 4. It can be bigger than that. So look for a number bigger than 4 that goes into 48. It's 16. How many times does 16 go into 48? 3. Okay, and the square root of 16 is what? 4. So your answer would be 4 square roots of 3. We know we're done because 3 does not break down. It can't divide by any of the numbers on the list, so you're finished. Guys, try to look for the biggest number that'll go in there. It'll make your life easier. Okay, square root of, when we're multiplying numbers, we multiply the numbers under the radical. So 3 times 15 is going to be square root of what? 45. What goes in there from the list? Oh, I know. 9. Yep. So 9 goes in there. And how many times does 9 go into 45? 5. And what is the square root of 9? 3. 3 square roots of 5. There you go. Are we on the back? Okay. Get to the back when you're done. Let's add in some variables. Don't have a panic attack. It's easy. Don't have a panic attack. Y'all seem to get crazy when it gets a variable in. Ready? Okay, here we go. Guys, I use numbers. You should know what to break these down into. I'm going to set up a nice one and a not nice one. Guys, we already know what we just did it. What does 45 break down into? 9 and 5. Okay, start with that. Guys, even powers go on the left. If they're odd, then you have to take all the evens you can out of it and put the odd one over on the right. Okay, guys, look at it. It's 4. 8 to the 4th can divide by 2. It's an even power. It goes over here. That's it. We'll deal with that in a second. If you've got an odd power like b to the 5th, the next lowest number that is even would be what? b to the what? b to the, guys, listen to me. This is odd. 5 is an odd number. We need the next number below it that is even. What's the next number below it that's even? 4. If I need more b's to add up to 4, how many more b's do I need to add up to that 5 that's up here? I've got a 4 here. How many do I need here? Just 1. There you go. Now, the c to the 6 is even, so it just goes over here on the left. Guys, why do I have to break the b apart? Because I can't divide a square root by an odd number, okay? I can't take the square root of an odd power. So I put the next lowest number that's even, and I put the leftover one over here. So far, so good. Okay, let's see. Let's see how this goes. What's the square root of 9, guys? 3. When you take the square root of a power, you just divide it by 2. Divide the powers by 2. Divide powers by 2. Divide powers by 2. So it's going to be a to the 2nd, b to the 2nd, and c to the 3rd. The square root of 5b just stays under there, and you are done. Okay. One more time. You take the square root of the number, divide the powers by 2. Take the square root of the number, divide the powers by 2. Okay. Questions, concerns, anything so far? Good? Okay, here we go. Let's break this one down. We need a radical for nice. We need a radical for not nice. Guys, 40. Have we done 40? We haven't done 40 yet, have we? I don't think so. What goes into 40? 4 and 10. Did we do it yet? No, not yet. Okay, here we go. 4 and 10 is correct. X, how many x's can I put on the left side? 4. How many y's can I put on the left side? 10. And how many does that leave me to go on the right? 1. How many z's can I put on the left side? 2. How many does that leave me to go on the right? Ooh, this is going well. Nice. Okay, guys. The square root of 4 would be 2. X, when you divide the power, would put it at x to the 2nd. Y, when you divide the power, would put it at y to the 5th. Z, when you divide the power, would put it at z to the 1st, but we just write z. And then you just write the square root of 10yz on the other side. Don't change anything about it. Leave it alone. Questions, concerns, anything before I move on to division? Okay, guys, here we go. Yeah, all I've got left is division, so let's go do these. Guys, whenever you have a radical, your calculator will not do square roots of radicals. It doesn't happen. So the way that we start off before we do anything is, unless it gives you like this, you need to rewrite it like this. So you're going to put it in this format. You're going to take the square root of 16, you're going to put it on top. You're going to take the square root of 25 and you're going to put it on the bottom. Now what's unique about both of these numbers? They are both what? Perfect squares. What is the square root of 16? 4. And what is the square root of 25? 5. So our answer is just going to be 4 over 5. Okay. Questions, concerns, anything yet? Okay. Now, on this next one, do you see the 12 and the 5? There is a problem with leaving, there's going to be a breakdown on the top, but the 5 is not. You've got a number though on the bottom that you've got to get rid of this radical on the bottom. Please put a little note out here. Never leave a radical in the denominator. Never leave a never leave a radical in the denominator. Never leave a radical in the denominator. Guys, you've got to understand this. You cannot have a radical on the bottom of that. In order to get rid of it, I'm going to show you something very easy. Whenever you multiply top and bottom, you're going to multiply by whatever is on the bottom, exact same thing. Guys, why do I have to do it on top and bottom? Because if I multiply by square root of 5 on top and square root of 5 on bottom, I'm really multiplying by 1. It doesn't change the value of this fraction. Whenever you multiply the top and bottom by the same thing, it doesn't change the value, it just changes the way it looks. So guys, 12 times 5 is going to give me what under my radical on top? 60. And then, what is the square root of 5 times the square root of 5? Oh, wait a minute. It is the square root of 25, but what is the square root of 25, guys? 5. The reason we multiply the radical by itself is because when you multiply a radical by itself, you get that number without the radical sign. I'll show you right here what it is, why it is. Guys, look at this. I'm multiplying square root of 5 twice. The square and the square root do what to each other? They cancel each other out. So all you get is that number. That's why we do that. Right? Okay, guys. Now we got to break 60 down. It's not simplified. Let's see if we can figure out what will go into 60 that is in that list. What from that list will go into 60? What from that list will go into... Start dividing, guys. You got a calculator. Just start dividing. 4. How many times does 4 go into 60? 15. There we go. And what is the square root of 4? 2. So I'm going to rewrite it as 2. Nope, that doesn't look like a 2. Let's try again. It glitched on me. 2 square roots of 15 all over 5. Now guys, listen. Please look right here. I'm going to pause right here for a minute and highlight this and show you this. 2 and 5 are both on the outside. Can you reduce the fraction 2 over 5? Yes or no? No, that doesn't reduce, so that would be your final answer. Now, look, do you see the 5 and the 15 could divide by 5? But grab your calculators. Hit 15 at the square root button. Is that really the square root of 15? Is that really 15? It's like a decimal. I think it's like 3.8 something around there. So this is not really 15. If they are both under the radical, you can reduce. If they're both on the outside, you can reduce, but you cannot reduce if one is under the radical and one is not. Okay, guys, questions before we do the next couple? Okay, here we go. So I can't leave the square root of 27 on the bottom, so I've got to multiply top and bottom by the square root of what? 27, exactly. I got to multiply by exactly what's on the bottom. Grab your calculators. This is not going to be a small number. I have no idea what that is when you multiply. What's 11 times 27, guys? 297. What do we put after it? Y. And then the square root of 27 times the square root of 27 is going to be 27. Thank you. You don't need a calculator for that. It's just the number without the radical sign. Good. Good, good, good. Okay, now we got to see if any numbers out of that list break down. Let's see if we can break it down. Grab your calculator, start dividing. 297 divided by 4. 297 divided by 9. 297 divided by 16. Till you find one, guys. Nine? Is that what you said? 9? Okay, how many times does 9 go into 297? 33? Oh, that doesn't break down anything nice, so that's going to be it as far as the numbers. Which side does y go on? It's to the power of 1. Does it go on the left in the good one or in the right in the bad one? In the right. It's got an odd power, guys. It's the power of 1. It's going to stay over here. What is the square root of 9? 3. So I'm going to rewrite it. It's going to be, you see how many steps we got to write? You got to write out the process, guys. You can't skip the steps. 3 square roots of 33y all over 27. Okay, that's not my answer. It's not it. Why is that not my answer? I can what? I can simplify. The numbers that I can simplify would be the 3 and the 27. Grab your calculator, it'll do it for you. Type 3 fraction button 27. 3 fraction button 27. The 3 turns into a what? 1. The 27 turns into a 9. So guys, do we write 1 square root of 33y? No, we just write the square root of 33y all over 9. Can I reduce the 9 and the 33? No, because one's under the radical, one is not. You cannot reduce them that way. Guys, did you see how many steps I took? You can't avoid the steps. You can't just go to an answer on this. I'm going to give you a 0. You have to show your process. Okay, here we go. We got 1 or 2 left. 2 more? Okay, here we go. So, square root of 3 over square root of 8. It's already broken apart for you. Okay, we got to get rid of the 8 on the bottom, so we're going to multiply top and bottom by the square root of 8. What is 3 times 8? 24 over the square root of 8 times the square root of 8 is... Guys, we got to get that from everybody. You need to be able to tell me that with no problem. That is 8. Okay. Can the square root of 24 break down into anything that is nice? Start dividing. Guys, you got to learn that list of numbers. I hear y'all flipping back and forth, which is great, but you got to know it on the test. They're not going to give you these on the test. You got to know them. What goes in there? 4. What's the other number? 6. All over 8. What's the square root of 4? 2. Oh, guys, see the 2 and the 8? You have a calculator. It'll do this for you. Type 2 fraction button 8. 2 goes into 2 how many times? 1. 2 goes into 8 how many times? 4. Guys, how would we write that for our final answer? Square root of 6 over 4. We don't put the 1 in front. Thank you. We don't write the 1 in front. Good. Okay, guys, remember what I told you, that if you can reduce and they're both under the radical, you can reduce them? Go ahead and get the reducing done. That would be the same thing as the square root of, what does 2 over 6 reduce to? 1/3. You want to reduce first if you can. It will make your life easier in the process. I'm telling you, it makes it easier. So that's going to give you the square root of 1 on top and the square root of 3 on the bottom. I can't have a radical on the bottom. Listen, if you have a radical on the bottom, your answer is automatically wrong. So we're going to multiply top and bottom by the square root of 3. The reason we multiply top and bottom is that's like multiplying by 1. What's the square root of 1 times the square root of 3? Square root of 3. What is the square root of 3 times the square root of 3? 3. Good, good. No hesitation there. That's awesome. And that's your final answer. That's it. Okay, guys, that's your notes for today.